The gentleman from Prince William, Mr. Marshall.
Point of personal privilege, Mr. Speaker.
The gentleman has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I have in my hand here a transcript of an NBC News report from yesterday. The title is, Bank Admits It Overcharged Troops on Mortgages. J.P. Morgan Chase also improperly foreclosed on homes. One of the nation's largest banks, J.P. Morgan, admits it has overcharged several thousand military families for their mortgages, including families of troops in Afghanistan. The bank also told NBC News that it improperly foreclosed on more than a dozen military families. The admission is an outgrowth of a lawsuit by Marine Captain Jonathan Rolls and his wife. Rolls is a backseat pilot of an FA-18 Delta fighter jet and has been serving in the Marines for 5 years, almost as long as he has been in a lawsuit with Chase. Under a law known as the Serviceman Civil Relief Act, active duty troops are generally supposed to receive mortgage interest rates lowered. A Chase official acknowledged in a statement today released to NBC News that beginning this week, Chase will be mailing about $2 million in refunds to families that may have been overcharged. She says most of the families improperly foreclosed on or have gotten or will get their money back. Not all, just most. The news comes as millions of Americans are struggling to keep their homes. Banks have come under fire for allegedly improper foreclosing on homes across the country. J.P. Morgan has had over $2.14 trillion in assets as of September, second only to the Bank of America, which had $2.34 trillion. The overcharges may never have come to light, but for Rolls, 31, and his wife, it's been a nightmare. It's been a living nightmare, Julia Rose said of her experience with Chase. The saga began in 2006 when Rolls went on active duty. Under the law, he could get his mortgage rate lowered to 6%. But Chase took a few months to lower Rolls' rate, overcharging the family. Rolls said by as much as $900 a month. Now, military salary, take an additional $900 a month out. In the fall of 2006, Chase began charging Rolls the correct amount. For the next year or so, everything went relatively smoothly. Then 2 years ago, the Rolls family said Chase began hitting them with collection calls that escalated to sometimes 3 a day, claiming they owed as much as $15,000. Saturday, Sundays, middle of the night, it didn't matter that it was a holiday, Julia said. Collection calls at 3 in the morning. He would state, I'm in California. I'm stationed here in Miramar. It's 3 in the morning. What are you doing calling me? Well, sir, this is an attempt to collect a debt. She said they threatened to take their house and report the family to a credit agency, even though the Rolls family didn't owe the bank anything and never missed a payment. The banks would have you believe that we're dealing with ne'er-do-wells in every one of these instances. The banks on Wall Street are wrong. The Rolls record shows that while they kept making payments on their mortgage at 6%, the bank wrongly had been charging them rates at above 9 or 10%. They kept calling the bank to explain there had been a huge mistake, but no one would listen to them. They kept being harassed for money they did not owe. Doing nothing is to be morally tone deaf to the cries of the military families in Virginia who are being bounced around by banks. Fed up, Captain Rolls got a lawyer and sued Chase for himself and other military families. The attorney said they ought to only have to worry about fighting the fight and keeping alive, not about whether their wives and children are going to be put out on the street. The lawsuit is still pending. The bank did a lot wrong. The bank maintains that it previously refunded the initial overcharges to the Rolls family. The couple disputes that. Mr. Speaker, 5 centuries before Christ, the Greek historian Thucydides, in his writings on the Peloponnesian Wars, indicated that the way the world goes, justice exists only among equals in power. The rich do what they can, the poor suffer what they must. But, Mr. Speaker, in the history of the Western world, democratically elected institutions such as Parliament and legislatures are the great equalizers. We represent all the people, the rich, the poor, those that have, those that don't have, those that are in the middle. We must bring justice We must bring justice to this issue. Vote for House Bill 1506.